You can do the weather.
I could. Yes, I could.
Man.
I would be a hell of a guy doing the weather, by the way. And by the way, has it not been pretty rainy? What is it, hurricane season? Gotta be
Yo,
hurricane season.
Bazinga.
Call me Hurricane Erica. Hurricane O, whatever you guys call me.
Hurricane Erica.
Hurricane Eric.
Erica, yeah. Well,
What is up, everybody? Thanks for hopping on another From the Hill podcast. It's a Friday. And what do we do on Friday, boys? We drink on Friday podcasts.
and we talk some shit.
Yeah, we drink. We talk some shit. We already
never
heard
do a Friday
Hurricane Earl chiming in. Props here as well.
Hurricane Erica.
And we got the helmet in place, just in case you guys want to
God.
start talking shit. I put my helmet on, defend myself.
Yikes.
You put that on when you drive?
Sometimes I could.
Shoot bubbles on.
I mean, it's not a bad idea by you. I even got my mouthpiece thing still on there.
What is that, a PW helmet?
Yeah.
Oh, man, glory days, big time. They let you keep that thing?
Yeah,
Wow, he stole it. They do not let you keep your high school helmet.
I'm not telling inside stories.
He
I'm not saying
stole
I could say some old stories, but
100%
somebody may be
he
watching.
stole that
But I could
helmet.
tell you the story how I got the bad boy.
Show us all your stickers. Show us all your little
You guys,
badges.
you guys want to hear how I got this? So this is actually my junior year helmet. So I wrestled, and so a lot of the
With a helmet
freshmen.
on?
Hold on, real quick story. So a lot of the freshmen left their helmets by accident in the fucking locker room, in the wrestling room. So I took one of those fresh, all-looking helmets, and I gave that back, and I kept mine. I'm like, dude, they're never gonna fall for it. They did, so I got to keep it for free. Thanks, PW.
I don't think I followed that story at all, but fine. That sounds
Me either,
great.
but hey,
You
it
didn't
sounds
follow. I'm saying I
fantastic.
got this helmet for free because I got a helmet that
You
a
stole
freshman
it.
left
You
behind
stole
on
the
freshman
helmet.
team.
They don't let you keep your helmet in high school. You stole the helmet.
No.
No, you're allowed to keep your senior year helmet, and this is my junior helmet because I was such a badass my junior year. I had to make stickers junior year. Regardless, end of story. I was able to get the guy for a good deal.
All right.
All right, good start to the show. What are we talking about?
Well, on Fridays, we like to drink. Some of our favorite or my favorite podcasts have been on Friday. I'm always reminded every time we start on a Friday night of the infamous Guilty Remnant podcast where Prof and I are both wearing the white From the Hill t-shirt. So it looks like we're in the Guilty Remnant. It was right before the McGregor-Habib fight. We had a third in studio. Josh was in here with us. We were getting drunk. It was really fun. So hopefully we have as much fun tonight. The boys is drinking. That's right, Knox. Eric's a helmet thief.
No,
before I forget, I usually do this at the end of the pod, but I just wanted to get it out of the way now. Don't forget, everybody, all of the From the Hill podcasts are up on YouTube, and the audio only is on the iTunes podcast application. Search from_the_hill. Do us a favor. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn the notifications on. It doesn't cost you guys anything, but it really helps us out. Helps us get the content out there so we can keep this stuff going. That's most of my spiel, but I did post on social media, and I want to throw this to the boys. I'm looking to get some more FTH merch, right? We're getting back into the swing of things. We have a bunch of merch, and I'm looking for new stuff. So I put up there, should I get head sweatbands or, wristbands or, so give me guys, what piece of merch do you want to see from us that we don't have yet? Earl, I see you got something.
dude. Well, Rick said the best one ever. He said, "Get an Earl bobblehead, man." I like that a lot. Give me a bobblehead like what's his name from The Office.
Dwight.
Give me one of the Dwight. Thank you. Give me one of the bobbleheads.
Can we get you one of them? Your third episode in. Can we get you one of them already?
Yeah, man.
How many Earl bobbleheads do you think we could sell?
It would sell like hotcakes.
Honestly, it would probably sell a lot.
Yeah.
I could sell one. I could sell one to everybody down there that knows him in softball.
Oh, it'd be great.
Easily.
Earl bobblehead. Now, what would be the outfit? What do you think? Would it be like a dirty?
I mean, if an Earl
bobblehead dirty
pants, I don't think it can be made, right?
No, we'll put it from the hill on.
No way. If it doesn't have the Rib House EPMD on, it can't be made. I mean, come on.
Dude, with an old, smelly Pittsburgh Pirates hat. He's a
sprayed out Pirates hat.
God, we used to go out to Manayunk or something. And you have this old stinky Pittsburgh Pirates hat on,
Oh yeah,
trying to talk
good
to girls
times.
out there.
Now is it bad that I say you should say that story that one time we had the softball games and I slept over Josh's
Oh my
house
God! Yeah,
and we
yeah.
went
Let
to
me
the
tell you
shore
this
the next
story.
day. I never took a shower at the
Yeah,
doubleheader.
so it was my bro. I think it was my brother's bachelor party. We were going down to Ocean City, Maryland,
Okay.
and we were gonna leave at like I don't know 6:37 in the morning just to beat all the traffic.
Sure.
Well, the night before, this is like July 27th. It's like 100 degrees, and we had a doubleheader down at Heels Field. Well, Eric, I think I dropped. I don't know. I don't know if I dropped you off there at my buddy Josh's house after we stayed in the parking lot drinking till whatever, and he probably went out to
midnight,
just enough
11:30
until
midnight.
Yeah,
2 in the
something
morning.
like
So anyway, I swing by my buddy Josh's. I'm picking up him and Eric and one of my other buddies. And doesn't Earl come outside
that. In the same place.
6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning with his EPMD jersey that he's been wearing through a doubleheader the night before? Went out to the bar, didn't get a shower, didn't brush his teeth, and he hops in my car for a 3.5 hour car ride down to Ocean City, Maryland. He smelled like a foot. It was disgusting.
It was one of the best rides I've had, man.
We literally had to drive down there with the windows open. He smelled so bad.
What happened,
But-
Earl? You got a little soft
I mean,
up. And,
we literally left the field, went had a couple drinks. I forget where. Maybe Nick's right. Maybe just enough. And
Just enough?
yeah, man, we got back to his house. I just crashed. I was like,
By
oh,
the way-
shit, I gotta wake up and go to this bachelor party or next brother's bachelor party. I'm like, I guess this is what I'm wearing. I mean, it didn't occur to me to maybe go in my suitcase and grab out clean clothes. I don't know. I was young. That was like what, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
That was probably like 2015, 16.
Okay,
maybe?
so you got to cut me some
4 or
slack
5
there.
years
I'm
ago.
a lot more. I'm a more
Alright.
hygienist, I guess you
Dude,
call it.
It was
Anyway,
brutal.
yeah.
Yikes. By the way,
But-
I'm pretty sure Just Enough is done. I think COVID
Really?
killed Just Enough. So
God
let's
bless
put- I'm
them.
gonna sip
What?
one down for
mean-
Just Enough. Rest in peace.
I mean, Corona probably wasn't the worst thing in there.
Well, I don't think Corona ever got to get in there, bro, because they shut down, man. They're not going to open back up. Knox says he wants to see some sunglasses, some From the Hill sunglasses. That's
good
actually not a bad
call.
idea.
That's
Yeah.
clutch.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
not a
good
bad
idea.
idea, actually.
I've also
That's a
been
great
wearing the.
idea.
I've gone away. I'm playing ball. I've gone away with the hat altogether, and I've gone with the Bryce Harper type style headband.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was thinking like bandanas, headbands,
Sunglasses.
and,
I do
some
like the sunglasses
sweatbands,
idea.
right? Like, I feel like that needs to come. It's the summer of the sweatband and the bandana.
Socks.
So socks is
Socks.
actually not bad.
Socks
some knee
and
highs or
those
some
FTH
calves.
on them
Not
right there.
bad. Not a bad idea.
I like them up to the calf.
Nah, not a bad idea.
Sunglasses are good. I have a pair of Pooch Patrol sunglasses that I wear all the time.
Yeah, sunglasses is not bad. Knox, if you got a guy, hit me up because I will take a look at sunglasses, get some sunglasses done. That would be it's not a bad idea. Real quick, before we get into the sports, what are you guys watching? Give me something you're watching outside of sports right now.
You want me to start? I'll
Yeah, you
start.
have to start because I don't think I have anything right now.
I mean,
Nothing?
well, here's what I have been watching. And for some reason, I've been watching The Walking Dead. For some reason, I just been getting back into. I just need something long term, something that I can't get through within a day. I just need material.
Bro, don't
And
ever say some reason on The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead.
So I'm up to like season 3.5. I'm in the middle there. They're like at the prison, they're a little past the prison. The governor's there.
Yo, spoiler.
I mean, come on, the show's like 10 years old.
I know.
Haven't seen it
Again,
yet, then
I've never seen it. I wait till it's 10 years past its prime and then I
well,
watch
it's
it.
over. They're up to season 9 on The Walking Dead on Netflix.
Well, anyway,
so
so-
I'm watching The Walking Dead, and that's it.
I'm not watching anything, but since it is kind of sports related, but you will never talk about this ever on podcast ever. I don't expect us to, but I'd like us to.
okay.
I have gotten into, and you know this, Jack. I've told you. I've gotten into Formula One racing
I
somehow.
knew that.
I don't
Okay,
know how
you
it
say
happened.
that.
I don't know how it happened. But I started getting into it, and now I'm watching. Dude, I watched a practice run today. They televised practice runs.
Was it
on
practice run or was
ESPN2.
it practice run or was it qualifying?
No, it was practice.
And it's not like
Round
NASCAR,
two
right?
practice run.
It's not
No,
NASCAR.
so much better than
No.
NASCAR.
They don't go
These-
around in
the- it-
circles.
No, it's incredible. They have these different
Okay.
tracks, and I'm learning about all these drivers. And then, as a follow up to that, there's actually a Netflix documentary that followed them throughout the 2018 or 19 season that I'm like one by one going through and learning more about the drivers. But it's a little bit intense because you have to learn about like the different companies. You know, McLaren has a team,
Yeah.
Mercedes has a team, Red Bull has a team, Ferrari's got a team. And I think what kicked all this off was I watched Ford versus Ferrari.
I was going to
What
say
is this all about?
you had to watch Ford versus Ferrari, and it got you.
Sure.
To watch. So that's wacky. I don't think they still do that because I'm still learning a lot about sport. But I was like watching it. I'm like, these guys are getting out and basically hanging out, eating a meal before they go on their next like shift. I think that was a special race that they did that for. But anyway, it got me to turn it on the television. I
Right.
started watching it, and I found this thing on Netflix and started watching that, learn about more of the companies and about the drivers and things like that. And it's pretty intense, dude. It's so much better than NASCAR. Like you get
I
these
don't
crazy
know.
tracks. These guys are
Something.
going like 250 miles an hour around these corners. It's
Man.
nuts.
I mean, the thing is
It's racing.
with F1 versus NASCAR, like NASCAR, you're in a stock car that's got regulators on it and you're driving in a circle. NASCAR has like one road track a year, right? But in F1, you're in these high performance machines that have no regulators. They go 200
Dude.
miles an hour on road
Now,
tracks
how-
all the time. And these
It's
guys are
banana.
nuts.
How
Yeah.
fast are they
they
going?
show you they're going well. See, that's one of the shitty things is that
They don't go
they
fast.
show you kilometers, so you're not really sure all the time. But it's like 255
What is the
kilometers.
metric system?
That's
over
pretty.
here?
It's pretty
255
fast.
kilometers is like 160 miles an hour.
Oh,
No,
right.
I mean I
That
think
went
they get
down
up
a
like
notch.
I think they get up to like 200, but they're taking these
They
turns
do.
like crazy, and then they show you basically the first person camera of what these drivers are.
Are they drinking beer, smoking cigs in there, or what?
I mean,
That'd be sick.
yeah, they have a Toyota Corollas.
running around the road track.
Smoking
So it's
some
funny that you
cigs.
led with. I wanted to talk about something I've been watching that's sort of sports related. That's actually kind of funny because when you think about it, like NASCAR and Formula One sort of sit like between the line of sports and non-sports. But I mean, there's always going to
Whoa.
be racing. It's always going to be around.
Yeah. Well,
And
NASCAR
Ford
lost
versus
a lot.
Ferrari is a cool movie, by the way.
No, I was going to say
Yeah, I
NASCAR
enjoyed it.
lost a lot of followers, man. I don't like getting crazy with it, but there's a lot of people down south that don't like what they're doing. I'll just keep it as that. So they're probably going into the Formula One. You know, they might get that big. You never know.
Prof, why does Earl always skirt the line with these issues here? Like he loves to walk right up to the line and just skirt it right away. He goes right for it.
Because it's the truth.
No, I mean it is the truth, and there's been some controversial things, but there's been controversial things in every sport. I've talked to a lot of people that are really hardcore one way or the other.
Oh, I mean, I totally agree. So where I was going with first off, so real quick, I wanted to throw this out there because I think I would piss Nick off. So the Umbrella Academy 2 just came out on Netflix. So that's what I've been watching. And I want to make sure I put that out there because I'm pretty sure Prof hates
yeah,
Umbrella Academy. It's all superheroes.
I
He
hate
hates that
I
shit.
hate what?
The Umbrella Academy. on
Oh,
Netflix.
well, see, listen. So you put me in a box like that, but if these are new
Put yourself in a
superheroes,
box. Every other podcast, you talk about how you hate superhero this and superhero that. Put yourself in a box.
but listen, if these are new superheroes with new superpowers that I've never met or seen before, that's one thing. If it's the same superheroes that I've been seeing in every movie that's come out since 1965, then I don't need to see it anymore. That's my thing.
I know, but that's why I'm giving you shit. Because it's
Well,
I
is it,
I
tell
like
me, is
Umbrella
it new
Academy.
or is
I
it
don't
not?
love it. I recommend
is
it.
it new or not?
Seasons in. Yeah, they're new heroes. It's a whole different storyline. It's weird. It's okay. I recommend it. It's a decent show. Entertaining.
So if I
Look
if I
into it.
jump on there
Is
and
it a
watch
series?
it, I won't have any reference of what who these characters are. I will have to
Not
learn them from
Marvel,
scratch.
It's not
All right, then
Superman.
perfect. Then I'm on board. Then I like it. Then I
It's
like
not,
it.
it's not bad.
Umbrella.
But
Then I
where
like it.
What's it
going?
called? Umbrella?
Umbrella Academy. Yeah, it's called the Umbrella Academy. It's not bad. Season 2 just
We
came
never
out.
talked about The Last Dance either. I did watch that like a
We
couple
did
weeks
not
ago.
talk about
By
The
the
Last
way,
Dance.
I
I
did
know,
watch
and
that.
I really wanted to talk about The Last Dance. First off, the
Silent
funny
schedule.
thing about The Last Dance is that, I think two of us watched it a long time ago, and now it's on Netflix. And so once it hit Netflix, you got a whole new wave of people that got into it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, you really need to watch it. If you were born before 1990, you better watch The Last Dance. Like, I'm just going to put it there. Earl, what year were you born?
89. I'm 80,
89.
baby.
That's what I thought. But if you were born before 1990 and you haven't seen The Last Dance and you like sports, you need to watch it.
Well, I'll comment real quick. I mean, like, I remembered Michael. Like, I remember like the Jazz when he did his last year in the Jazz. I remember that shot. I remember where I was watching it. But what I really didn't know was like his early career and what really drove him. And I'm like, this guy was a savage, man. Like, he was ruthless, kind of. Like, and plus the one thing that really got to me was like what motivated him. Like little things would motivate him. Like, like the one story is like the one coach didn't say hi to him in some restaurant, and he's like, no, he didn't say hi to me. That's all it took to fucking beat him, And
He was always looking for something.
he was always motivated to just
driving
win.
edge.
He was more motivated. I didn't know that really about him, or at least all these in and out stories of him.
Right.
Heck, I would say the opposite. I think people that were born after 1990 should watch it more so than people that actually saw him play. Because the people that actually saw him play, which would be us. I mean, Eric was probably right at the end. We were like, I don't know, 10, 12. But we actually got to see it. People after 1990 are people that should really watch it and understand that. I mean, I think that's I think that would be more important than just going off of what you see now and thinking that that's how basketball was all the time.
Well, the reason that I say if you were born before 1990 is because Earl fits into that box. Because Earl got to watch him against the Jazz, right? But
like I said, I was
Mike was
9 years old.
Mike was drafted in 85.
86.
That's when Nick and I were born.
Exactly.
So even I didn't really see his early career, right?
Same.
If you were born after 90, you didn't really see Mike at all. You didn't get to see Mike play. So I wouldn't say don't watch it, but if you were born before 90, you watched Mike play. If you were born after 90, if you're born 91, maybe, but like 92, 93, you probably didn't watch Mike play, maybe on the Wizards. But what was that? Like, you didn't get to see
Well, I know, but that's kind of my point. It's like just to get an opportunity to see him actually play a little bit, to know what his career was before. But because now what's whenever there's a lull in sports, what's the debates on First Take and whatever those stupid shows are. Yeah, I mean, so right. You go based on, and a long time I was more of a LeBron guy for a while.
You are a LeBron guy.
I kind of am. I guess I kind of.
It's all right.
But I also understand. That if as far as killer instinct goes, there is nobody else. There was nobody else ever. And I actually think the closest person to that was Kobe.
Yeah.
The mom.
It's documented. And it's documented that I wasn't the biggest Kobe fan of all time. But I do acknowledge I'm not a big Michael Jordan fan either, by the way. Right. I mean, I just think as a human being, not his biggest fan. But I do acknowledge that as a killer, if there was somebody that would like, yo, you need to go win this, they're 1 and 2 for me.
Well, the one thing I like about Jordan too, which I didn't know about, he was a big gambler, man. This guy took his mind off basketball to go gamble. He went to the golf course. He was betting $1,000 on the golf course. And the one time he did it, I actually wrote this down in my notes because I really wanted to point this out. It's like, this guy went through this shit. He was against New York. And then Knicks, I don't know, what was it? What I got? 90, the third title he got. And he goes gambling in AC. And it is blowing up, but he's able to come back and win the damn title. I mean, I don't see LeBron doing that.
Yeah, and the media got on his case. That's actually a very interesting portion of that series when he goes to Atlantic City from New York after they went down 2-0 to the Knicks. He went down
Yeah.
with his father to kind of take his mind off
Yeah,
it.
he's like, I'm scared my mind. I ain't doing nothing illegal.
Think about that was probably, I want to say 1992, 1990.
It was his third title, I think.
Somewhere in that range.
So what's that?
Think about what that would play like in 2020 versus 1992. The media back then was sort of on his case, and they sort of made a thing about it, but like he was able to get away from it. How ridiculous would that be today? If he had a game in New York City and then later that night was in Atlantic City, how many people on their phones would be videoing Michael Jordan at the blackjack table? And how ridiculous would that story be in 2019 or 2020?
It was huge back then. It would be even bigger now, I would assume.
Honestly, right now, he would not have even been able to get inside the casino because there have been so many people sitting there waiting for him.
Because they would know he was
Nobody knew he was going.
Somebody would have figured out he was on
know.
the plane already.
Yeah, at that point, yeah. But I'm saying now there would have been people there, and the second that his car parked, you don't think that place would have been mobbed?
Yeah, been sworn.
Today.
Yeah,
because
that's
the first person,
it's a really good.
The first person to go live on Twitter or Instagram, and oh my God, Michael Jordan's down at I don't even know Trump.
It was an
whatever.
AC. It just say AC.
Whatever.
He's at
the AC.
Yeah,
but like you don't think people would have literally flocked just.
I don't know, man. He had a bunch of bodyguards, dude.
If Mike,
but Eric, my point is
right now,
what place would have been mobbed?
Borgata, probably. Is that the nicest casino in AC that's left? The Borgata.
You got Harrah's, Borgata.
I think Borgata's one of the few that I've been
in. Like the two nicest left down there, right?
I haven't been there in 10 years.
Really?
Really?
It's been a couple.
Really? Yeah.
I was down there a couple times last summer.
You know why I haven't been there
Hard Rock.
in a while, Boo-ha?
What?
Because you're not any good at gambling. That's why.
The one time I did,
you're just not any good.
Listen, the one time I did go down there, I sat for 12 hours at a poker table. I won $800, but it's not a ton for 12 hours.
That's it.
I mean, I think what Earl's saying, Prof, is you just got to get good.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
There is no good.
No,
me on the hand,
there is no good.
I'm a ringer.
You guys think you're good at gambling down there. I'd like to see those books. Let's open the books up.
Open up the books.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one time I remember where I was like broke as hell at $20. I got up to like $200, and I'm like, I'm out of here, and I was out. $200. Once I get up a little bit, I'm done.
You got to walk away when you get up.
I walk away. I'm like, I'm buying some beer with that.
Very, very.
Well, we went down there for my buddy's fight. He had it was a company called Naga. My buddy Kev had a fight down there. And we went down.
UFC fight or a boxing fight?
Yeah, an MMA fight.
MMA? Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty sick, actually. He won. He destroyed the kid.
Where did he do it? AC Hall?
It was actually at, I want to say it was, the convention center down there.
Yeah, AC has a hall. Like, they have a convention center. They have, it's called, Atlantic City Hall or, Atlantic City Convention Center.
It was pretty sick. I forget where it was. I don't know if it was in AC or if it was in Wildwood or something like that. I don't remember.
So you bet, and you end up making a couple.
A lot of venues there.
Anyway, we drove down there and we didn't have a room to stay at, so we were just like, all right, we'll just gamble all night. So I literally sat at the poker table. I lost $200 right away, and then I put in another $200 and end up sitting there with the same chips until 6:30 in the morning, and I made some money. I think
and you got free drinks out of it. That's good.
$800.
That's nice.
And then I bought the hotel room, I think, for the following night.
Dude, you know what? You know why you're the best? Because you do shit like that, man.
One time in my life.
And that's the last time too, right?
Yeah, it was exhausting. I'll never do that again.
That's a long night. He bought the hotel room so he could sleep all day, Earl.
He was in survival mode in the gambling.
Survival mode. I have to win. I can't fall asleep
tonight.
I think Josh bought the room like the following 2 nights, but Josh used to bankroll everybody.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
What's the
So,
beef? Let's
a
get it.
couple things that came up. We were talking about things going on in sports right now. And one thing that hits really close to home for us is Ben Simmons out indefinitely. He's got a partial dislocation of his left kneecap. That sounds like it hurts. However, this has really spurred a lot of debates, and I got actually direct requests to bring this up to the boys on the podcast tonight. What do the Sixers do from here? So there's a lot of questions right now about the 76ers in this, shortened or extended or whatever you want to call it, COVID season here. And the real question is where do the Sixers stand with Ben Simmons? And I want to put it up to the boys first, then I'll give you my takes and all. But first question is, if you were offered a trade for Ben Simmons right now, do you do it? Or who would you want in a trade for Ben Simmons? Like, would you move Ben? And if you would, who would you take?
Go ahead, Nick.
I mean, that's a pretty difficult question. I mean,
Yeah.
who are you going to get for Ben Simmons? I mean, is it a guy like Damian Lillard? Is it a guy like
In the
like
bubble.
who are we talking about?
Well, so
It's not gonna
so
happen.
you're Nick, of course, is always a good straight man because I'm in a group text today and I got somebody going off, right? I got somebody going off about we got to trade Ben. We got to trade Ben.
Can I
And
kind
you know
of change
me.
the subject? Not say here's something, but like change the question. Like, do you think that Sixers are going to win without Simmons, or are they going to win with him?
Well,
or are they better off without him?
Exactly. So the first thing that I say is, guys, I'm trying to calm, the Philadelphia fans down here because they go, guys, whenever you have a trade in the NBA, there's always a winner and a loser, and it's clear cut. When you're trying to move a guy, you're never going to get fair value back, right? You either have to get some young players that you think you can develop or an aging star, especially for a guy like Ben. He's 24 years old. He's a former number one pick. We're going to debate for the God knows how long here about his jump shot, right, or lack thereof. So that aside right now, the first question I put back is what Prof said to me. Who are you offering? Like, if you're telling me, am I going to trade Ben? Well, who are you giving me for Ben? Who are you offering for Ben?
Yeah, but so right now it doesn't look like that offer will be worthwhile. Whereas before, when Ben was playing well and he was playing defense well, and at a certain point throughout this whole thing, you could have said almost anybody, and you would have said no to that trade offer. So it's just like in fantasy sports, and we've all gone through it all the time. When you have a guy that's of high value, people send you bullshit trade offers all the time, and you're just like, are you serious, man? It's like these 5 players for this one superstar. No, I'm not doing it. Well, now when he's on the downswing of things, now you're the one out there looking for deals. You're the one out there trying to put deals together and look for a group of players that would be sufficient return for him. And that's the thing is when you put all your eggs in one basket on the guy, which we did throughout the whole process, now you're stuck. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
So you trade.
I'm not. No, because his value right now is not as high as it could be. I'm saying when you have, it's the same thing as the stock market, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's an asset. So when you have a guy whose value is way down, are you selling there or are you selling high?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And I think
I'll give you my take on it.
What Prof is saying, Earl, right? And here's where he's going is that it isn't about whether or not you would want to move on from Ben specifically. It's that right now, at this point in time, it is the worst time to try and move Ben because his stock is.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Earl.
I mean, I do agree it's a bad time to trade him, but maybe in the offseason, all this hoop, when the season's over, maybe they'll have some good offers. And you know what? I'm going to disagree with Boo Ha here, and I say, you know what? Maybe we should trade him. Trade him. The guy can't shoot. It's been 3-4 years. He can't shoot worth a shit. So I mean, let's get some draft picks, and let's get a star. Let's get another star. If we can get like a star, I'll take a Chris Paul maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I know he's a little old, but somebody,
Yeah, we're
someone that
old.
got some like
So
a younger
here
guy,
is
some draft picks.
He's older than us.
I don't know why
He
not.
was
I
way
mean,
older than us. So Earl.
all he is a
Sure.
lockdown defender, and that's it. Ben
Well,
Simmons. He
Ben-
can't
all right.
shoot. He can dunk. That's it.
Well, before we get carried
And he's
away
not
with the
clutch
lockdown
either. He's not
defender, you
clutch
got to
whatsoever.
remember Ben is a lockdown defender. He's a first-team All-League
I
defensive
said
player.
that's all he is a lockdown
Yeah.
defender. But he's
But-
not clutch, and he can't shoot. I mean,
Okay.
I've never seen him
No.
make a clutch shot. He's not even in the game in the fourth quarter. He's like, no, Ben, you can't shoot, so I'll leave you alone. Just go sit on the bench. We're going to put Mike Scott in.
So
Right?
now, with Earl as GM, Elton Brand, you're out. Hurricane Eric is stepping up as GM. So he's fielding offers for Ben Simmons. I mean, I just heard Chris Paul. Would you trade Ben Simmons
It
for
was
Chris
just
Paul?
a-
You wouldn't do that.
Just that type of
You would
player.
not do
That type of player. Like a Chris Paul, that type of player. I'm not saying Chris Paul, but that type of player. like Chris Paul.
If the Blazers offer you D. Lil right now,
Yeah,
for Ben
yeah,
Simmons,
it's done.
you
That's
take that
done
trade?
Deal. Yes, that's a done deal. That's stupid.
Buha, yes. Eric?
Who say? Who
Damian
was the
Lillard.
guy? Damian
Lillard.
Lillard. Oh, Hunter. Well, Portland's not letting him go. Get out of here
We're
for Ben
playing
Simmons.
good.
You see
We're
the shot
playing
Damian Lillard
good.
hit last year in the playoffs?
That's why I'm
dude?
just throwing it out there.
No, well, I'm saying. I mean,
What if Houston?
if they give me a lot of draft picks, like a top,
you give up. Do you give Ben up for Russ Westbrook?
yeah, I would. Yeah, for sure.
Buha?
Well, listen, Eric, so you just mentioned that your big point around the whole thing was not being able to shoot, and you're going to bring
And he's
Russell
not
Westbrook
clutch.
in?
He's
You're
not
bringing in the
clutch.
same guy. You're bringing in the same guy, but he's shorter.
And older.
Well,
and
I'm
more
disagreeing with you. I said I was
And not as
going
good
to
on
do that.
defense.
And more expensive.
Right.
Didn't we
So, no.
sign Ben Simmons to a 5-year deal, max contract?
Who,
I
Ben?
thought we signed this guy, Ben. He's on a max contract, isn't
Not
he?
yet. No.
Not
he's
yet.
on
So, we didn't even,
yet.
so it's a
And
perfect
remember,
time to trade him. We didn't even sign the
He's
guy.
not on a
yet.
max yet.
Let's trade him with
Remember,
some picks, some unprotected top picks.
remember, with the NBA, when these guys get to their second and third contracts, then they get like the max and the super max. Russ is a super max guy.
Well, we got Toby
Nobody-
Harris. He's getting max.
Who?
Toby
Tobias
Harris?
Harris?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
getting
but-
max.
But you have to remember, in the NBA, what max is for one guy is not what max is for another guy. And
Now, how do
Tobias came from a different team.
Now, how do
and
they
so-
determine that?
It's by years. It's by years with the team. There's a lot of things that go into NBA max.
Okay.
Years in the league, years with the team, what a team can offer you versus because the team that you've been on can always offer more. That's the NBA's protection.
So Simmons is on a 5-year contract for $170 million.
Yeah, he got okay. So they
Right.
did sign him.
Yeah, he's getting paid a lot.
So realistically, they're not trading him. I just want to disagree with Buha.
That was last
for
year.
the sake of argument.
Yeah.
So they're keeping him. They got the
Yeah, I mean,
contract signed and
because-
sealed.
Dude, you really don't have a choice right now. You really don't have a choice right now. You have him signed.
Keeping him.
Okay. But Eric, so your point is get rid of him and let's get back a superstar. My point is the value's not there to bring back a superstar at this moment. You're in the wrong spot to do that. Here's the problem right now, in my opinion. The Sixers have, and I might have said this last week. I don't know if I did, but we're talking about this. The Sixers are a notorious, dominant home team. Right?
Okay.
They suck on the road. Now, where are they playing all these games? They're in the middle of
Neutral site.
nowhere with no
They're in the
fans.
bubble.
They're nowhere.
They're in the bubble.
They're discombobulated. They're in this weird kind of like inception phase right now.
Yeah.
Or they have no feel for each other.
Well, I think they got
Whereas-
some passion going a little bit that last
Whereas
year.
before, as a team that could potentially get home court advantage in a playoff situation, and I know that
It
they're
doesn't
going
mean
away
shit.
from that, but that would have been major to
Yeah.
win home court advantage in a playoff series. Now that doesn't mean anything. It means they put your fans on the screen
They put your
and try to
cardboard
pump in
cutout
fake noise.
up on the back
Yeah.
screen. That's it.
Right. So the Sixers are in this state of flux with who they are as a team right now. And Brett Brown's not doing himself any favors. I've fought for a long time about Brett Brown, about keeping him around and how I think that he can develop this team and how I think he's a good coach. But I think at this point, this neutral site in this weird bubble world is going to decide Brett Brown's fate for sure.
Well, I think it's
I
almost
don't
like
think there's
an
any
excuse
question about
to
it.
not fire the guy because we're in a bubble. We're in a bubble. It's not, where normal things happen. Plus, they lost Ben. And by the way, I did want to mention this about Ben Simmons' injury. Patty Mahomes had the same injury, came back in 2 weeks. So don't give me this shit. He can't come back. Pat Mahomes had the same injury on that little quarterback sneak. Came back in two weeks, I think. Won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, Ben Simmons could come back.
True. And right now he's out indefinitely, and they're taking a look at like what's going on there,
Yeah.
what's damage. So like it doesn't mean that he's not going to come back. And
Yeah,
we're
the
not
Sixers
saying
training
he's not.
staff.
One thing that I heard earlier, and see, this is the thing, and what I really want to do, and I wanted to bring this up to you guys before we get like super in depth about the construction of the Sixers. I really wanted to do on our next podcast, if you guys are up for it, I really wanted to do a breakdown of the process itself, where we start at the beginning of what was called the process, right? And we take a look at the assets that were acquired, the picks, we look at the players, we look at the moves, and then we get to where we are now and kind of take a look at how we got there, what happened, why are we there, would you have made these moves, that kind of thing. So I really wanted to do that and not talk about that as much. But when you look at like where they stand right now, and with Ben specifically, the question's going to be, with him and the injury, your point, Earl, is how hurt is he, and is it worth it for him to come back here? To Nick's point, they're in the fucking bubble. Like, if he does have some ligament damage in there, do you risk it? Do you bring him out here and risk him blowing a wheel for the next 6 months? Because remember, the new season's going to start up like 2 weeks after we're done this one, and this one's kind of like whatever. So this guy's with the Sixers for a while. I'm glad that we all are kind of in agreement that, yeah, we like to play fantasy GM, but everybody here in Philly needs to get on board with Ben and get on board with Joe. Like, these guys are here, and trading them is going to bring nothing back unless you can fleece some GM, right? These are our guys.
Yeah.
So everybody in Philly needs to get on board. These are our guys. So I don't know even if he isn't that hurt, or to your point, like Patty came back in 2 weeks, what are the Sixers doing this season? Earl, we talked about it via text. Like, what are the Sixers doing this season?
I'll put $5 on with a championship. I'll put money on them. Kidding me?
I mean, what are your expectations for the Sixers here in the restart? Realistically,
I don't know. I think it was really disheartening though when they came back, and the major storyline of the first game of them coming back was the blow up between Milton and Embiid, and I realized that was patched up and all that, but I just find it like interesting that people have been calling for Milton to be the point guard of this team for a really long time.
right?
And we get it in the first game back, and all of a sudden, now there's real,
Well,
there's
what happened the
real
second game?
disruption.
Right.
Where people for a long time have been, Jack bounced off again. I don't know where he went, but
All right, we'll keep going.
people have been
We'll be back.
for a long time have been saying about how Embiid and Simmons don't get along, which Embiid and Simmons, for all intents and purposes, have said that's not the case at all. Actually, Embiid had an interview a week or two ago, and it basically stated, the exact opposite of that. But Milton comes back, and I understand. So I didn't watch the whole game the other night, but I understand he hit the winning shot. Or something.
Shot. Yep.
So he kind of redeemed himself a little bit. So maybe, it could potentially be a good thing, but it wasn't a good look for the team. Like the first
game, no, it did. But it was the first game.
I get it. And maybe, like I said, overall, maybe it's a good thing. But here's the thing. All of it is the whole, and Jack mentioned the process and what the process was supposed to be. The whole
I got a take on that too.
Well, yeah, the whole thing was based around the development of Markelle Fultz. So now we're trying to make
it wasn't.
Honestly, it was, because
the process was about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. That was the process.
But the final piece, of this whole thing,
that was the process right there.
The final piece of this whole thing was Markel Fultz. And if Markel Fultz developed,
Well,
he was
that was a
going to be the person that now that people are calling Shake Milton to be. The final piece.
Okay,
Now
well.
where we want a true point guard, we want a point guard that's going to take over. I think that was their process this entire time. It
Look,
just didn't happen.
You guys are out in front of where I want to take this for the next
I know.
podcast.
I know. See what happens when
I'm
you
always
disappoint.
ahead of things
Here's
over here,
the
you
thing.
know.
And this is what's so interesting because I've sort of tracked this from start to finish, and I have these conversations all the time. Where is the point where the process really?
That's it.
The Fultz
I think
broke down.
Markel Fultz is
That's
the
what killed us.
point.
Who went to? Jason Tatum?
Well, the Sixers, if you remember, the Sixers traded up.
Yeah, that was
They gave up
Hinkie
more
would've
of
never
the
did that
assets that
shit.
were accrued via the process. They traded up with the Celtics to get to one to take Fultz. But even though that was like the breaking point, there's other moves, right? And I don't want to go too deep into it, but we talk about Jimmy Butler. Remember, this team last year is within a buzzer-beating shot by Kawhi Leonard that hit the rim twice from taking the eventual NBA champs to a Game 7 overtime in the playoffs. And that was with Butler, Ben, Jimmy, JJ, right?
TJ
Butler's
McConnell.
here. But then Butler walks. So
Can't forget him.
you can go all the way down the line and look at all the different moves.
I'll bring up a name for you.
So you think they can win this year? Oh, go
My
ahead.
name to bring up in this whole thing is Landry Shamet.
There you go. Another guy.
Yeah, that's who we traded for.
Tobias. Who
Was that Tobias? I thought that
Yes,
was Butler.
that was
Yeah, he
with
was
Tobias.
he was in the Tobias.
That was
trade,
worth
and-
it. We signed
No,
Tobias long term.
no, I don't think it
Was it,
was.
though?
I don't think it was.
That's what I'm saying.
It's on the Clippers. He said he's an average ball player.
He's not average.
He's
a
not
shooter.
average. He's killing it.
He's a
That's his
shooter.
numbers. Do you guys know his number? He's
He had,
doing
like,
good.
Steph
I know he was good
Curry.
last year.
He is like Steph Curry 3-point shooter.
Really? Okay. Well, as we say,
And
well,
he's a
plus
young
we gave
guy.
up. I thought we
Young
gave somebody
guy.
up for Jimmy Butler. I guess it was Tobias. Jimmy Butler, we gave up somebody.
Jimmy Butler, we gave. You know, I knew who we gave up for Jimmy. Earl, do you know who we gave up for Jimmy?
No, that's why I'm answering the question.
He
No.
gave up two process
Rob-
guys.
Robert.
Two process guys.
Covington
Robert
and Sarge.
and Dario.
Yep.
Saric.
And we got him for a 1-year deal. That
We
makes sense.
not even a year.
a half a year.
It was a rental.
That's just so dumb.
Give up two process guys, two young guys who were big parts of our team.
And cheap.
Jimmy Butler. And as good as Jimmy Butler is, you can't make that deal unless you know you can sign him because it has destroyed your team.
Dude, I know.
We should have signed
Looking
Butler.
back on it,
But he didn't even want to
looking
stay
back
here.
on it,
Yeah.
looking back on it, I wouldn't have done that move. I wouldn't have done that move at all.
You can't.
I would have been all on board with Dario. I don't
Yeah,
like
he
Robert.
loved Philly.
Listen, I don't like Robert Covington. And the other guy that I would have signed again, I know he's old, but I loved him with this team was Ilyasova. I thought he was fantastic with this team.
Bro,
And
he,
he's on
then-
Milwaukee,
I know.
right?
he was electric in the playoffs for that team. He was electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shot
And
after
so-
big shot.
All that with the incorporation of JJ Redick.
Yep.
And the ability to shoot from outside made this team different. And now it's very one-dimensional. And
Well, yeah.
it's a shame, man, because we were on the path, and then we saw the shiny object out of the corner of our eye, and we're like, hey, we can get that, and that derails the entire process.
Yep.
So, and honestly, I think all of us are guilty of it. I'm not saying, but it's also not our jobs to do. But I think everybody at a certain point throughout the last few years were going after shiny objects, and they wanted to get shiny objects. Where in the whole grand scheme of this thing, we were on the right track the whole time and didn't know it.
Yes.
And,
Well, hey,
and
yeah.
looking back, you would redo a lot of different moves that you made.
Well,
And it sucks, but again, we're not getting paid to do this stuff, and people do have to answer for those decisions, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And here we are. We might still win a championship this year. Who knows?
I want to prove a point why they have a good chance of winning the championship. I
We
mean,
just beat
because
the Magic.
the number one guy, Joel Embiid, that guy is like he's the best center in the league. That guy, if they don't have him, it's over.
well,
But
Joe.
but
I
they
mean,
got him. And by the way, breaking news on the thing: they beat the Magic 108-101. The Sixers
that
beat the
going
Magic.
the Magic stink, and you know who's on the Magic?
Well, they just beat the Magic, but they beat them. Like, that's breaking news. I
Markelle
just saw it pop up on the phone.
Markel Fultz is on the Magic.
But yeah, I mean, they got him beat. Toby
I'm gonna run out
Harris
real
is
quick.
coming
Hold on,
up
guys.
clutch. They got so Toby Harris is coming up clutch, scoring a lot of points. And without Simmons, I think they're going to be okay because I think they're going to put in the. I mean, a Mike Scott role. Mike Scott just sits in the corner and waits for the ball. That's what Ben Simmons was doing, waiting for the ball. He's not the point guard. Shake's doing it, and I think he's playing better. And just name off a couple of guys. You got Matisse Thybulle, Josh Richardson, and I mean, they're pretty good players. I think. I mean, they got some depth. I think so. They could make a run at this thing without Ben.
But let's be
Hey.
honest, Eric. Let's be honest.
Let's get
not
to the
winning-
finals and let's worry about it. Can they
You're
beat the
not
Bucks? Let's
winning
be honest.
anything without Ben, right? Like Ben, it's
Ben's a
Joe,
lockdown
Ben,
defender.
it's Joe, Ben, and then everybody else, right? It's Joe,
Ben didn't do
then
shit the first
You're
game. The
not
guy
winning
put up like
Ben.
8 points.
But that's not the point. But see,
What's
you
the
can
point?
see you're gonna fall into the trap, like everybody else falls into the trap of just looking at the box score and one line
He's
point.
a lockdown defender. I know he's a great player.
You're not looking at steals. You're not looking at blocks. You're not looking at assists. You're not looking at his defensive presence. You're not looking at what Ben does out there.
I know. I was listening on the radio. They're saying they were selling Ben short. I'm like, I saw this guy hustling, dude. That guy was hustling, scrapping, and throwing the floor.
I mean, so
that's the type of player he
conversation-
is. I mean,
I had a conversation earlier when it came to Ben, and it's the what came up was, is Ben lazy? And I'm like, listen,
no,
you
never.
can't call Ben lazy. Ben is a gym rat. Ben works on his craft. You can have everybody has the conversation about we need him to shoot jump shots, right? I mean, and like I said, we in Philly are me talking about it for 10 years because Ben's here.
Ben and Joel aren't going
I
anywhere.
love Ben. You guys know I love Ben. I'm probably the biggest Ben supporter in the city because for me, I think Ben has that transcendent talent in him. He just needs to get to unlock that certain piece. And by the way, for as frustrated as some people are in this city with Ben, my man is 24 years old.
Yeah, he's got a long time to go to get better
He has got
where he's at.
7 years of prime NBA basketball left in him.
Yeah.
He's 6'10". He is athletic. He can ball handle. He can ball defend.
He's got more than that.
If he figures out the offensive side, and that doesn't just mean like shooting jump shots, right? It's
Just
got
getting an assist too.
complete package for him on offense. But he's so young, and I think he can be transcendent. So I'm with Ben, and I've been with Ben. I'm always going to be with Ben, and I will fight everybody in the city for Ben because I'm a Ben guy. It's just the way it is.
I mean, like I think you're not the only person that is. I'm a Ben guy. I was just saying, let's go the other way, just to argument's sake with Buhan. That was all that spiel. Because so you got to keep him. I am aware of that, and
But
you want to
argument's
keep
sake,
him. And he's going to be
argument's
the
sake
cornerstone of your
doesn't mean anything.
franchise. But right now, it's next man up with this team right now, and they're not calling it quits because they got Ben Simmons with a kneecap bruise or whatever he got.
Sure.
I mean, they're going to keep going, and they have to. And I know Joel wants to win, and it's a good opportunity to win in a shortened season to maybe, pull some shit out of
Your rear end.
right out of your hand. Well, I was going to say rear end, then I was going to be, pull a rabbit out of the hat or something over here, and that's what I meant. Pull a rabbit out of the hat. It just took me a couple seconds to get. I got it.
what was that
Maybe
from?
they can make some damage. I mean, I do think
Meet
the
the-
two best
meet the
teams in the
parents,
East
too?
is the
Yeah.
Bucks and the
Meet the
Sixers.
Packers.
I mean, I think they are, even without Ben. I think they might get better without Ben because they have a better shooter in his place. He's playing
Well,
the 4 anyway.
prob-
Mike Scott's going to be at the 4. He's going to bang, and Al Horford's getting more
You
playing.
can't stop
Al
it,
Horford, I
dude.
think he'll be
Let's
clutch.
go talking about Get
You
better
can't
without Ben.
stop
What do we
him.
call that? What do we call that on From the Hill? That's the
I
backup
don't know,
goalie
man.
syndrome, right?
You call that a Joe Biden?
That's the backup goalie syndrome.
That's
You'll have a
Joe Biden.
team.
Whoops.
Am I wrong,
Say
Prof,
that.
or am I right? You have a team. You get your star out, and they might get better for 4 or 5 games because they got the backup goalie in, and everybody rides around. But you're not going to tell me that this team is going to make a run anywhere without Ben.
No.
I think
they're
they
not.
can, though, man, because they had their best player on the team in Joel Embiid. I mean, I'll keep going back to it. If that guy's on the court, they got a shot because they have a good cast, and they got Toby Harris. They have a good cast, and that's my point. I'm sticking to it. They have a shot.
It's really difficult.
Do I think they're
really,
going to win it? No. Do I think they could beat
It's-
the Bucks in the East? Yes, I think they can.
It's really difficult
I mean, I don't think they're going to beat the
to win.
the
Jesus,
Lakers, but you never
take a
know.
breath.
You
Holy
never know. You
crap.
never know until the fat lady says,
Oh
"Come
my
on."
goodness! Do those earphones work or what?
I like them a little bit.
Do those earphones work?
Good
Huh?
immune, Prof?
Do those earphones work?
What do you think? What do you think, Jack? I mean, is that like so far fetched? I think the Sixers going to win this thing.
Yeah,
Let's
it
get
is,
to the
dude.
finals.
Dude, am I taking crazy pills right now? Are
What's
you
going on in
serious?
the chat? Are they fucking crushing me over here?
Can you even hear
They're fucking
anything?
destroying me, aren't they?
Oh my god, you can't hear anything.
So, yeah, well, they have
Can't hear you,
Burks too. Burks is a good player too. The guy Burks
Holy
is a good
shit,
player.
we might just let him go. Just let him go.
Burks. Ellis Burks.
Ellis
Dude, they got
Burks.
players, man. Like just cause Ben Simmons is out.
All right, I'm going to have to mute him and hide him real quick.
Jeez.
Let's move him over and bring him back in.
We cannot let him drink on
All
the
right.
podcast.
So, anyway,
Dude, Ellis Burks is a baseball player.
What happened?
Do you remember that? Do you remember Ellis Burks?
we have derailed.
Oh
you
my
ran.
goodness.
So that was sort of a teaser. I do want to do, and we are going to have fun with the next podcast. We are going to do a full look at the entire process from start to finish. We're going to look at draft picks. We're going to look at players acquired. We're going to look at moves. We're going to talk about GMs moving from Hinkie to Colangelo into Elton Brand. We're going to look at years. We're going to look at records. We're going to look at seasons. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a really fun podcast. So everybody definitely look forward to that one. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we got more to talk about, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just talking about the process podcast. So we kind of talked about it tonight. We talked about where they're at now, but I want to do a full process. So we're going to do a full process next week, and that's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people have asked about that because a lot of people ask me about specific moves. So I want to bang it out. We're going to do it all in one stretch. We're going to run through every move. We're going to get to break them down. We're going to get to talk about it. And the one thing I think that's going to be surprising to a lot of people is what happened with the GM moves in between there. I don't think everybody really knows the truth about the move from Hinkie to Colangelo, but we're going to talk about that too. So it's going to be fun.
I thought we've been talking about it a little bit, but
little bit, but we're going to go.
We get more depth into it.
We're going to go full in depth because I
I
know that before we get out of here, I know Prof's got something to talk about, and Earl, you see me poke Prof. I like to poke Prof about the NHL.
I like disagreeing with him.
I was poking him tonight in the group text, Prof. So what's going on with the NHL right now? There's a game going on right now, right? Tell the people what's going on and tell what I'm poking you about.
Well, I mean, I basically, as soon as the game started, I just sent a text out to you guys and basically said, you need to turn on television because Connor McDavid is playing. Connor McDavid is a 23-year-old kid. He's not going to be 24 until January. And he is by far and away the best athlete on the planet right now.
He's an absolute stud.
I say that, and I know what that means. And I say that, and he is the best athlete on the planet right now. It's unreal
He's
what
a
he
stud.
does.
There's no question about it. The man's a stud.
It's beyond that. So anyway, what Jack wanted to poke me about was basically the fact that there are two 12 seed teams. One has been eliminated. One has eliminated a 5 seed team in the Penguins, which is great. That's awesome. So we have one of the best players on the planet in Sidney Crosby, who's been eliminated by the Canadiens. Now, what's significant about that? Well, the Canadiens suck. Let's plain and simple.
Yeah, they suck.
They haven't been a good team all year. They're terrible.
Suck.
Got it. But let's be real about this. This is not a regular year of hockey where you have a continuous gelling of a team throughout the course of a year. Now, I mentioned to you the St. Louis Blues from last year when they won the cup. And what happened with them was they were the worst team in the league at January 1st. And then over the next few months, developed themselves into a complete unstoppable force. And they gelled as a team, came through the playoffs, won a cup. So that's what happens throughout the course of a hockey season. It's a long season. What we see here now is a little bit different. And I understand you're upset that a 12 seed beat a 5 seed. We see it all the time in basketball. It's not a big deal for basketball in college, but for NBA, you want to be able to predict all your winners.
But you shouldn't see it in college basketball because they only play 20 regular season games. They play
right now. These are teams that are cold off of a 5-month layoff that are jumping back into a season in a technical playoffs, which, by the way, they're not even actually
playoffs quotations.
Right. So here's the thing, and you were talking shit on these teams, and I get it, I understand, but you also have a former Hart Trophy winner, goalie, which doesn't happen, and Carey Price.
Well, what did I say? What did I say in the text message? I said because he stands on his head.
Yeah, but that's one. But that's one thing, and they don't usually do these weird playoffs. And this wasn't the playoffs, by the way. This is to get into the playoffs.
This is to get into the playoffs. It's even worse.
By the way, so the second team that you're talking about, that I don't even know what the score of the game is right now, that's playing Connor McDavid, are the Blackhawks, who have like 5 or 6 Hall of Fame players that have won 3 Stanley Cups. Not one of the best American hockey player of all time, a Stanley Cup winning goalie. I mean, this is a team that's not like you don't just toss them aside.
But wait a minute. Hang on. I'm not saying you toss them aside, but can you tell me what the Blackhawks record is right now to be the 12th seed in the East?
It's not good.
It's not good. I'm not saying the thing is, and this is we always have this argument, and we're always going to have this argument. I'm not saying that these other teams don't have good players on them or great players on them. But what I'm saying is when they get to these positions where they can advance over teams who have achieved much better records than them in the regular season, what does it do?
No.
Which is the regular season.
No.
That's my point.
No. What are you talking about? Achieved the difference in regular season is not that
From
there's not that big a gap.
5th seed?
There's not that big a gap, dude.
Well, then tell me what it is.
All right, so the gap, I'll look it up right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this: Blackhawks are up 2-1 against the Oilers.
Yeah, they're
series wise.
Yes,
and they're up 3-2 right now. So
yeah,
they're going to get the dub.
I said it to Prof earlier. I said both 12 seeds were going to knock out both 5 seeds tonight. That's what I said. And you're going to see
the
Oilers are out.
The best young player in the NHL and Sidney Crosby, the best aging player in the NHL. You're going to see them both get knocked out tonight.
There's a 10-point
the
gap.
Canadians.
There was a 10-point gap between them.
That's not significant.
No, it's not because here's the difference.
How many games did they finish in a regular season?
They 70.
So yeah, they missed 10. They missed over
70
of the season,
and the Oilers had 71. So
and let me get this straight real quick: the Flyers beat the Boston Bruins. Am I correct?
They not only did they beat the Boston Bruins, Earl, but they just beat the Capitals yesterday. So stay on your toes.
So they're in. So these guys are the favorites to win this damn thing. That's who we're talking about. The damn Flyers. Let's go.
The Flyers have guaranteed themselves at least a 2 seed in the actual playoff.
Yeah, the Flyers were hot way before COVID came in, and they just came back in hot. Like the Flyers were the best team in the NHL for a period before COVID hit. And then they
were on a 13-0 run, and they keep this thing going, which is amazing.
They kept it going. Yep.
But I'm telling you, dude, this is not. I would much rather watch a playoff, and I understand this is not. They let in more teams than they normally would.
Now, what
I mean, this
channel are
is-
these guys
this
on?
is-
Let's find out here.
It's on 590 if you have Verizon. It's on the NHL. It's on
Because-
the NBC Sports Network.
They don't get sponsored by nobody.
But it's unreal, dude. It's unreal. They start at noon and they go
They don't
until
even,
like
they
1 in
don't
the
even have
morning.
a
Nobody's
fucking
watching it. And it's
stream
amazing.
game.
Playoff hockey is fantastic. I mean, to me,
I agree.
this is pseudo playoff hockey, right? Like,
Yeah,
and it's
not
like,
as good. There's no fans. It
yeah,
sucks.
there's no fans.
I'm saying, so how do you even watch these damn games?
They're on,
You
they're
can't
on
even watch them.
NBC Sportsnet, like during the day. I think it's cool. I don't want to sound like I don't think it's cool. But Prophet, I have this endless debate that we always have, and it's just that what bugs me in the NHL is that because they play 82 games, which is a long regular season. Let's not say it's not, right? Like the NHL starts in October and plays until March before playoffs start or April.
That's
Like,
a long
it's a long
season, for sure.
What always gets me is when the 8 seed knocks out a 1 seed or a 7 seed knocks out a 2 seed.
And it does happen.
And it happens quite often in hockey.
I told you what it is.
I know why. I'm not saying I don't understand. Trust me, I like hockey. I watch a lot of hockey. I get why it happens. But what I would like to see then, if it's going to be that way, is why are we playing 82 games then? Why don't we play 60 games and do more of a round robin
That's
tournament?
an easy question to answer. Money.
No, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
It's
No,
like this
that's
wall.
not the answer.
Because you're
Money,
not the
forgetting
answer.
something, more than half of the teams in hockey make the playoffs.
Dude,
There's
no,
28
no,
teams in the
that's
league and 16 make the playoffs.
totally wrong, dude. You're
all
totally
money.
wrong. And I answered this last week. When we talked about baseball because of the cut down season. People are going to like it a lot more, but it's not the same grind as it is throughout a real season.
No shit.
When you-
Yeah, it's
That's
all
why,
different.
but there's no
But-
value in it. What is
There
the value?
is.
There's
Jack.
value, man. That's
Jack,
hard to
there
get that
is
shit,
value.
man.
Tell me,
There's a lot of
the
value.
value of getting
I
a
just
one
did.
in NHL.
I just did with my Blues example. I just
These
told
guys
you
who
what
live
it
in
is.
Montreal
It
killing it.
doesn't matter. You need to play to get into the playoffs. You need to play to build up your team and develop as a team throughout the year so that you go into the playoffs hot. So not necessarily winning the President's Trophy is the biggest deal. Nobody cares about that. Actually, believe it or not,
Right,
nobody
you're
really
making
cares
my
about that.
point. You're making my point.
No, but I'm not. No. But my point is the reason the 82 game season is because you develop over that 82 game season. So yeah, if you're a really good team, you're going to win the President's Trophy. But the reason you're not doing well in the playoffs is because you coast into the regular season or you coast into the playoffs.
So you're saying
But-
we shouldn't watch the first quarter of an NHL season? That doesn't matter.
No. That's not what I'm saying. That's not
Okay.
what I'm saying at all. Because there have been teams that have ups and downs, and they make the drive to the playoffs. My point is, you can see a team develop throughout the course of the year and take down a 1 seed. You've also seen a 1 seed win a Stanley Cup playoffs.
Who was the
Let's
last one
take-
to do that?
Let's take, for example, the Penguins won back-to-back Stanley
Talking
Cups.
that shit. Let's fact check you.
Yeah.
We-
Earl,
the,
check it
Peng-
out.
the Penguins won back-to-back Stanley Cups. The Blackhawks.
The Capitals had the
won-
best record in the NHL for
Damn.
like 3 straight
I'm on
seasons.
low
They got knocked
battery.
out
Yeah,
in the
and
first round.
and they won a Stanley Cup 2 years ago.
Eventually,
Yeah, they did. They won one 2 years ago.
they
The
did.
Kings were dominant for a few years in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
with the Flyers boys.
there's teams that do this and they go on runs and they have a 5-year window where they're a really good team. But no, it's not as predictable as the NBA is every year, where you can predict the finals. Now you're not always going to predict the outcome of the finals. Sometimes the Warriors
NBA is
lose
a little
and they'll run.
different.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But my point is, you guys are busting my balls about how it's not as good of a league because an 8 seed can win the championship. Well, what's the point of the playoffs if an 8 seed can't win the championship?
Because the point is, you played 82 regular season games to determine who was the
But
best.
you don't. Yeah, but you don't know if that team came from out of nowhere to even reach that 8 seed, and they're just still on the climb upwards.
But that's great.
Yeah.
I know. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and that's great. They made a late season push. They pulled it together. Their goalie in the last half of the season had a below 2 goals against average, so they started winning games. I get all that. But what I'm saying is, when you let 16 out of 28 teams into your postseason tournament,
32, by the way.
it's 28 NHL teams, Nick.
32. They
Is
just
it?
bought it. They just got another one.
They just got another one.
28.
The Kraken.
Yeah, the Seattle Kraken.
They're not there yet. They're not playing yet. When you let all these teams into the playoffs, but you play 82 games, you should expect that your one's going to beat your 8 because your 8 is barely getting in. They're going to be around 500. They're not going to be a great team, and they should lose to the 1 seed, who should be the best team in the league because they proved over 82 season.
You're being dramatic and acting like the 8 seed always beats the 1 seed.
I didn't say the 8 seed always beats the 1, but it happens frequently.
Yeah, I know, but the fact that it can happen should make it more exciting.
It does.
The fact that it can happen.
It doesn't.
Whereas
we agree on that point.
Whereas the NBA does the exact same thing.
I know.
And it's basically a waste of everyone's life.
I know, but we're sort of saying the same thing in a different way. I agree with you. It's exciting, but you could probably agree with me that it shouldn't happen. Like a 1 seed should not lose to an 8.
No, because
why do you think that it took 90 years in the NCAA tournament for a 1 seed to lose to a 16? Because it should never
totally
happen.
different, dudes. Don't even
just putting
start.
it out
The amount of talent, yeah, for sure.
Don't even start.
But hockey's
a
different game, man. Hockey,
because
it's a more of a team game.
2 teams can be at different peaks
Football
and valleys
happens.
of their season when they reach the playoffs. That's the point of this whole thing. You go on these peaks and valleys, and it depends where you meet up. And sometimes the 1 seed is way up here on the way up, and they end up winning the whole thing. That's the point of sport, dude. That's the point. Everybody does all this. That's the reason that we sit there and watch these games throughout the regular season, and we get to the playoffs, and we want to see action instead of, oh my god, we got to watch the Magic.
Talking about hockey again, great.
We gotta watch the Magic.
I'll talk about hockey all night.
Yeah, let's watch the Magic versus the Bucks, where Giannis is going to do a double backflip dunk. Like, it's not even a competition anymore.
Right. And listen,
you're meeting 2 teams.
You're not wrong when you say that. But at the same time, there should be a certain amount of that. And I don't think the NBA should let 8 teams in. I've been saying it for years. And I don't think the NHL should either.
No, the NHL should.
8
the NHL should because
league, it's just
because there's so many different factors in the NHL. You said it yourself. You got 4 lines of guys. You got 3 lines of D.
I could beat them up.
You got goalie situations. You got coaching moves. The amount of coaching moves that happens this year. The amount of coaching moves that happened in the NHL this year is unreal. There was like 10, 15 guys that lost their jobs and were replaced with new coaches.
Year.
That's every year. Thanks.
Year in the NHL.
It happens every year. Nobody gives a shit. Keep the ball rolling.
You know what? I know they move all the same guys around, but at a certain point, some teams respond to it. Whereas the NBA,
listen,
when you ask the population right now, they don't even know who won the
and then all of a
Stanley
sudden he
Cup last
lands on the
year.
right team.
I can't hear either of you yelling at
My
me.
bad, I'm sorry.
Both my ears at the same time.
I just said Lav gets passed around to 5 different teams, and all of a sudden he lands on the right team. And our boy Lav, like, bro,
I mean,
hockey's not a popular sport as in football, so people don't know about it. And,
well, thanks for that breaking news, Eric.
The thing about it, people don't care, and I don't know. Say this. If some guy gets fired because he stinks, I'll say this: well, he probably deserved it. That's what Jack would say.
Breaking news: the NFL is more popular than hockey.
So AC wants to.
Mike Tyson, you want to talk about?
To switch sports real quick, and he's asking, "Who is your GOAT in baseball? Who's the greatest of all time baseball player? Who you got?
Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle.
The Mick.
Did I go?
Breaking news: Prof named his son after Mickey Mantle.
Listen, so Mickey Mantle. Boy. Listen, if he didn't have some issues, he would have been the greatest, most talented baseball player of all time, in my opinion. I've read a lot of books.
What was Mickey Mantle's issues?
A lot of drinking, a lot of injuries.
Okay. Good to know.
A lot of drinking, a lot of injuries. He enjoyed the nightlife.
A lot of fucking too, right?
The movie 61 is phenomenal. One of the best.
Mickey Mantle, for God's sake.
One of the best
hitter, man.
movies HBO ever did.
Yeah.
You know, Billy Crystal
mine
directed.
is I'll probably say
Yankees fan.
100%.
Who you got, A?
Ken Griffey Jr., baby, all the way.
Most predictable answer ever.
I love Griffey, but it's hard.
I mean, he was my favorite player. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
He's my favorite
If
player.
you want me to say
I would
Mike
not give him
Schmidt?
GOAT status.
I don't know. I mean, Ken Griffey was my
Listen.
guy. I bought
right,
his
so-
shoes. You know, I look up to that guy. He was a
Go ahead,
straight up
Jack. Who's
shooter.
yours?
You know,
I mean, for me, I it's cliche, but like, how can you not give it to Babe Ruth still?
yeah.
there's
That's the
the-
obvious
there's-
choice.
The pitching, the
can.
numbers. I mean, hitting more home runs than entire ball clubs in his era. Like, I mean, how can you not give it to George
Yeah,
Henry?
he's number one.
Well, I cannot. My honestly, probably the best ever. Now Mickey Mantle wasn't the best ever because of his downfalls and some of his injuries. And all
You're
that.
giving it to Mick because of his potential.
Right, talent wise, I think he's the most talented player ever. Now, the
Yeah.
best player in the history that I've ever seen, and hate me if you like, I don't really care. Barry Bonds is the best baseball player I've ever seen in my whole life.
I don't know how
I
you
mean, talent wise and
anybody-
numbers wise, yeah, for sure.
our age can argue with that. How can anybody our age argue with Barry Bonds is the best?
I've never seen.
I mean, he has the
anybody.
walks record. You know, the
500
walks record is the most
500
impressive record he has.
All-time home run king. What
I mean, the
what-
one pitch
what
that
had-
he
what
did get,
do?
he smoked it. The one pitch he did get. That's what I love about Barry Bonds. They'd walk this guy tons, and the one pitch he got, it was gone.
He hit it
Now,
out.
what's
He-
crazy?
yeah, he hit it
What's
out.
crazy
Yeah,
is
that's
I
how.
don't know. I know he played in Pittsburgh and I know he played in San Francisco, and I don't know. I have a feeling that Candlestick and Three Rivers Stadium were pretty difficult places to hit the ball out of the park.
Well,
And I know
Candlestick-
factually that AT&T or wherever they play now is a very difficult place
Yeah,
to hit it out of the
and
park.
he played there too. Candlestick and AT&T are notoriously difficult. They're pitchers' parks. They're notoriously difficult.
Crosswinds like crazy. Like there's trash blown all over the field. Like, I mean, and this guy still did what he did. Now, granted, yes, there were some different substances involved, but I mean, this dude was outrageous.
So,
Outrageous.
real quick before I want to talk more about Bonds, but AC says, do we think that a guy like Judge or Trout will surpass some of these guys? I would say
home runs?
first. I wouldn't put Judge even in the conversation with Trout.
No,
yet.
Judge can't be in the conversation.
I mean, Trout right now is on pace to be the best baseball player of all time.
I
Now,
would say
do it for another
that
10 years.
I would say that
What,
Trout
active
has
home run,
a
active home
very
run
good
leaders?
chance.
Trout has a very good chance. Judge is on a crazy power tear the last 2 years, and currently, right now, it feels like every time he comes to the plate, he hits a home run.
He sure does. But here's the thing with him. He's been injured for the last couple of years. He's older than you actually think he is. I think he's 28 or 29 at this point.
Who?
Which he's
Trout?
Power guy.
No, Aaron Judge.
Okay.
He's-
I was saying
he's a
Trout's
li-
29.
He's a little bit too old right now to get things going, whereas Trout has been doing this since 2012 and kind of under the radar. But
Only because he played in Los Angeles on
now-
the wrong team.
that's true. But the other part of this is I also take into account where Aaron Judge is hitting. And he hits in basically Heels Field dimensions in
Yankee Stadium is
Yeah.
Okay, so I had the top 4 active home run hitters. If you guys want to hear them,
Go ahead.
Albert Pujols has
What is
657 home runs.
657. That's what I thought. He probably won't get to 700.
Miguel
What is that?
Cabrera has
657.
480, and Edwin Encarnacion has 415. Nelson Cruz with 404.
Edwin Encarnacion is over 400. Oh, that's interesting.
It says, I mean,
He was a savage, dude.
it says
He was.
415 on here.
Yeah, he was. Nah,
Pujols says 657. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the one flirting.
So, I mean, Silius's hitting Judge could be. I don't see it, AC. I don't. What I
just
see from
can't.
Judge,
It's
what I see
too
from
late.
Judge is a good 5 to 7 year stretch where he's a prolific power hitter, but I don't
That's
see
not
it
Judge.
longer than that. Points that Prof brought up first: his age, his size, which is going to make him more injury prone. I don't see it with Judge. I think, he's going to be a very great, a productive player for the Yankees for the next 5 to 6 years, but I don't see him being an all-time great. Trout for sure
Don't think so?
could be an all-time great. What about our boy? What about Bryce? Bryce has the pedigree. No, does he not have the pedigree?
He
I mean,
definitely has the pedigree, but that's only one very, very, very small piece of the puzzle.
I agree, but does
well,
he
I'm
not?
to
Have
let you guys know,
talent?
I'm running low on battery, so if I cancel it out, that's why.
Gotcha.
I think a huge part of it is basically contact rate now. The way that they're doing analytics, and I don't know if Bryce. I don't know what his stats are, strikeout rate wise. I don't know what it is. I think he hits the ball, puts the ball in play a lot, but I just don't. I don't have that feeling like I did when he won the MVP award. Like he's going to keep those numbers up. Those were the type of numbers that he was going to
Well, how
have to
about last year? The guy put up over 100 RBIs, 30 home runs, batted
Yeah, I know.
280. I mean,
I know, but now everybody's doing that. You understand that everybody's doing that?
that's debatable. Come on. Everyone's doing that. You're saying these pitchers stink? You're saying these
No,
pitchers aren't doing their job?
Eric, look up the numbers from last year. I mean, he was.
I'm looking up Aaron Judge right now.
He was in the top 10 for. Was he in the top 10 for homers or RBIs last year?
Probably. He hit over 30
No, he
home
wasn't.
runs.
No, he wasn't. I'll bet anything on that.
Definitely wasn't in the top.
I mean, how
10
many
for
players
home
are hitting?
Might have been
If
for
you're hitting 30 home
Definitely
runs, you're getting
home
paid.
runs. So AC saying, first off, absolutely love Harper. And we talked about this a lot, like pre-signing Harper on the podcast about what bringing him in would do for the city, legitimizing the Phillies, right? Because we like to think of the Phillies as a big market team. They needed another marquee guy after the sort of lull that came from the last run. So I'm pumped for him here. It's a hitter's park, like everything, right?
I love him too. Don't get me wrong.
We all love him.
I think he plays with fire, and I think that's a huge part of being a great player in this league is playing with fire and playing with passion.
It's great,
But
too.
But
Mark,
we're talking about being being the best player of all time. I just don't think he's going to get there.
right.
I think he's an
don't
amazing
so either.
player.
I think it'd be
Here's the thing. To Eric's point, he hit 30 last year and like a $110. I mean, we're expecting him to hit 45 every year because of how much we paid him, but that's not realistic. But
yeah, it's not.
if he in the next full season, which we don't, hopefully 2021 we get a full baseball season. If he hits 42 and drives in 123, like he may win MVP, right? So,
He could very well win MVP again.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
He's
that
only
he can't.
28.
Yeah, he's in the prime of his career. Best years. These are going to be his best. These are going to be, and it's a shame that we have this weird season this year, but like 28, 29, 30, 31 are going to be the best years of his career. That's when these guys are at their best in baseball. Those 4 to 5 years are the prime of these guys' careers.
All right, so this year does matter. I mean, what do you think? Do you think these Phils can pull it off with this team right now with Girardi on the help?
No.
You say no.
No,
I mean,
absolutely not.
so they're 2-4 right now. They lost.
It's not too early to tell. It's not too early to tell. It's not at all. This
what is the
bullpen.
pitching?
This bullpen is
Fucking
disgusting.
dog shit.
The
Yeah,
bullpen
well,
is
you know what they got to do? They got to start playing 7-inning games more.
The bullpen's dog shit.
Yeah, they don't need the bullpen 7-inning games.
Well, no, but yeah, the bullpen's rough. I think it's too early to tell, but they don't look great.
No, they don't.
All right. So Bryce Harper was 23rd last year in the league in home runs. That's AL and NL. And let's see where he was in RBIs last year. I'm just bringing that up. But the bullpen is disgusting. It's
bad.
despicable.
Yes.
And they need to do something quick.
They didn't spend any money on the
He was
bullpen.
number 12 in RBIs last year, which was
That's what
good.
I said. I told you.
Yeah, I mean, the guy had a good year.
12. He knocked in a lot of runs last year. He had a very good year last year.
I'm not hating on him, and the lineup around him is not fantastic. And Reese Hoskins, that guy needs to figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about that. He's a head case a little bit right there.
I mean, I think as the Phillies go, it's going to be Reese because I think you're going to get what you're going to get from Bryce. But he needs his.
He needs a
he's
Reese
Batman,
Hoskins.
he needs Robin.
So
He needs
Harper
some big
was
space.
he was 4th in strikeouts last year, so that's an issue. So
Really?
Is it an
Now,
issue
listen.
though?
yeah, it's a big issue. It actually is. So you need to put the ball in play. Now the guys ahead of him in strikeouts were Eugenio Suarez, who hit 49 home runs last year. Ronald Acuna, who's he's maybe 18 years old. He's the youngest dude ever. And he hit 41 homers. And Pete Alonso hit 53 homers. Now, Bryce Harper comes in at number 4 with 35 homers.
But how
So-
many runs did those guys drive in? Hitting 50 home runs, 48 home
So
runs.
103 for a disgusting Reds team last year. That
Yes,
was awful.
agreed. That's a bad team.
101 for a Braves team where he carried a lot. Now he has Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, but the
Correct.
Braves were a
Right.
very good team, so that's a little suspect. He's hitting a lot of solo home runs.
Now, I also think he was at the top of their lineup. And then you're looking at Pete Alonso, who drove in 120
As a
And-
rookie.
as a rookie and hit 53 home runs. I mean, you can strike out a little bit at a little higher clip
And
doing that.
he's a monster.
But you get my point, right? You get my point. So I'm not trying to say that Bryce is bad. I like that production. That's not terrible. I mean, he had
He produced.
it's not terrible.
And you look at
Um,
his years past on that, he was even producing even more. And he got paid the big bucks. He didn't shit the bed. And
No,
I
he,
just
he had a very good inaugural.
he did what he had to do. And if
There's-
you screwed us up last year, McCutcheon got out.
That was a
it-
rough
and
injury
there's,
to start the season.
there's definitely some deficiencies in the lineup. And Reese Hoskins is a big issue right now. And the bullpen's a major issue right now. I mean,
So it's not going
There's-
to work.
I
So,
really
so they might
don't
make the playoffs. They may not. And
You know how you do you get a feel for the season sometimes? Do you ever get a feel for the season?
I do
that,
actually.
Like
The
there's
Eagles
a
all the time. Eagles, yeah.
I agree with you.
I always say, nah, they ain't doing it. They stink.
I agree with you, but I can't get a full feel for the Phillies yet. Dude, and you know what? It could just be me because with baseball, as the grind we expect from baseball with the regular season, now we have this shortened thing, whatever it is. I try and watch and get a feel for where we're at and get, 20, 30 games in. But where do we need to be this year? Like 8, 10? Like, do you need to know after 10, 15? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't have a feel for the team yet. Although I agree the bullpen is dog shit.
My opinion,
I'm just-
they just got to get in the
Huge
dance.
problem.
I'm just really tired of watching Vince Velasquez throw and being like, oh, I don't really have a feel for him yet, because we've been doing this for 4 years now, where we think this is the most talented guy ever. He could be an amazing pitcher, and we watch him time in, time out. Like when he does this every year, where he comes out of spring training and he's actually pitching a little bit, where he's actually hitting spots, and he looks like he takes some off of his mechanics, where he's not totally stressing his arm out the whole time. And then we get in the regular season, and it's like, I'm going to throw this ball 174 miles an hour. And it's just not there.
Right.
Now you're throwing again. Now you're not pitching. Now you're trying to do too much. And I'm just tired of watching it. I'm tired of watching it. I can't watch it anymore.
Well, I think you and the rest of the city. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that is the consensus around the city on him. Cilio says Bryce's defense was 10 times what we thought we'd get. Honestly, I thought Bryce was an above average defensive player. I mean, he's electric in the outfield, right? He's always had a cannon for an arm, and he's not going to be the best outfielder, but I always thought Bryce wasn't a far above average outfielder because he's a great athlete.
Yeah, and that comes with
Bryce, yeah.
playing. That comes with playing a game with passion. There's a lot of guys that hit like this, and they want to just play offense, and they don't really give
they
a
want
shit
to
about.
stand out and let
you know,
you give you nothing in the outfield, right?
You can tell that he actually cares about it, and that's a major part of being
Totally agree.
a half decent defender. And he does have a good arm. I mean, he's a former catcher.
Sure.
That's how he came up, and he knows, he's smart. He knows the game. He's always mentally in the game as well. You don't see him make a whole lot of mental errors where it's like he fell asleep in the outfield, sitting there not thinking about it, like Eric in right field.
I never make any errors. I'm the best fielder you would ever see.
Well,
I'm
on
good-
that
I'm a good
note,
fielder.
when we're talking about Eric in right field, we're gonna get ready to wrap it up here. We had a nice long one tonight. We would go for like 3 hours if we
We
could.
could. We got more topics too, right?
We we could go for like 3 hours, but you know what? It doesn't.
We can cover The Last Dance again on the next episode.
Yeah, it doesn't work too well
So
when
much
I go to
more.
put the YouTubes and the iTunes up when we're going like 2 hours. So
Yeah.
gotta wrap it up. Plus, we got more to talk about next week. I already told you guys, but I'm gonna say it again. Don't forget, we're on YouTube and the iTunes podcast application. Hit us up. search from_the_hill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. We are going to, I'm super looking forward to, I hope these guys are, breaking down the full process on the next podcast. It's going to be very, very interesting to run through. Earl is putting on his
Should I do it? I'll do it.
high school football helmet as we
It'll
get out of
feel
here.
like a glove. There we
Yeah,
go.
right.
To end it off. To end it off.
Yeah, like OJ's glove.
There he is.
There I
But Earl
am.
brings
Feel
more
like a glove.
memorabilia to the podcast than anybody in the history.
Well, man.
Yeah,
YOLO.
Connor McDavid got
Now,
eliminated.
here's the
so-
problem. How do you get it off?
Yikes. That's it, everybody. Thanks for hopping on. For the prof, for Earl, it's Swags. We are out of here.
See
Peace
you
out.
guys.
Peace.
I'ma roll the weed and some shit in, we gon' blow it down. You know, just this. You gon' take a shot, girl, we gon' get fucked up.